Hi, my name is Cody Crane, and this is my story. I was a young teen, probably about, 13 or 14. It was actually the time my parents got divorced when I was a kid, and actually seeing them together again. It was a long time. My mom left when I was 10, and she had her own soul searching to do. And my dad took care of us three boys. Yeah, it was very hard on him. But I remember this time where my mom wanted to see me. There was something going on. And I remember my dad looked at me, and I thought my dad was going to say no. And my dad turned around and said, "Let's go." And we drove all the way up to New Jersey. I'm from Pennsylvania, so it was like a 3-hour ride to go see this mystery question or conversation we were going to have. And seeing my dad and mom together and realizing it was about me was the coolest thing, ever to see, because they were both hostile to each other, but they knew my mom needed to talk to me, my dad wanted to talk to her, and just having that conversation, all of us together, was a big moment in my life that changed everything I've thought. Growing up, God wasn't really existent to us. My mom was sort of a church person. My dad got brought into church, so my grandma's from the old generation, we used to call it. My grandma, God bless her soul, was 98 years old when she passed. But they grew up in South New Jersey, Newton and Sussex, New Jersey. And they both grew up in a religion area, right? But because the families didn't really, it was too big of a family. They wouldn't go to church all the time because it cost a lot to get there, because it was across town or somewhere really far, so there wasn't walking distance on it at all. So it was very weird growing up and not being able to go to church. Like my fiance, my wife, she was really into church and stuff like that. So, when I met her and talked about church with her, I had this little bit and she had like a book of it. And I was like, wow, I guess I'm missing out on something. How I joined the military. I went to the recruiting office. I was struggling with a job. I had a hot temper and I couldn't keep a job worth anything. 6 months was long for me. 6 months was a good time. And I went into the recruiting office right in Hampton, Virginia, and I signed the papers and everything on Monday morning. And I shipped the same day, shipped to MEPS, got all my medical done, everything. And they're like, "You're going to ship on Saturday." I was like, "Yes, let's go." And Thursday came around and she looked at me weird and I looked at her weird, like I was hiding something. She's like, "What are you hiding?" And I looked at her and I said, "Well, I gotta let you know I'm going on a small vacation." She said, "Where to?" And I said, "Well, I joined the military and I leave Saturday." And it didn't go over very well with her because she was like, "Why?" She had so many questions, but in my heart I knew it was the right choice. And I followed it through. I followed it all the way, and I left that Saturday. So I think the moment in the military that really stands out to me, majorly stands out to me, is when my commander came up to me and said, "You're going to Iraq." And I was a young guy and I was motivated. I was very motivated, and I wanted to serve my country to the max. But going to Iraq, it was like, oh my God, this is the big league. This is you can possibly die out there. I was overseas in Iraq, and I was in the heart of Iraq, Baghdad. And I'll never forget the night where my first interaction came. First contact is called, when things happen wrongly, when enemies are fighting us. And I think the hardest part for me was I didn't know what to think. I'll never forget, all I said was, if I survive, if things go right, I just want to see my wife. And I remember a sergeant, I don't want to say his name, but I remember a sergeant looking at me and he said, "Boy, we ain't gonna die." And it was just the funniest moment, because you're in the heart of fear. And you're scared, and he's scared, and you could tell we're both scared. But just him looking at you and just cracking that little joke, it's just like, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. I believe in you. The biggest thing I've struggled with in the military, for me, myself, and I, was when I was coming home from Iraq. There was a situation that happened to me in Iraq that made me change in the world. It made me change as a person, as a human. Any of my friends or anybody could tell you that I am a loving and talkative person. I love to talk to people and stuff like that. But when I was coming home, I had very anger and emotions against everybody. It didn't matter what, you didn't even have to know me. I would probably tell you to go fly a kite. And I remember coming home and I wasn't the same. And a lot of my higher ups noticed I wasn't the same person, soldier, human, that I was when I left. I was always funny and laughing and trying to crack jokes. When I came home, I wasn't the same Cody. I wasn't the same Specialist Crane. I was struggling with something deeper in me. I'm blessed. I really am. It was we call it Thanksmas. So we were celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving with my wife's parents, and her mom let me borrow the car to go see the baptism of my baby cousin. And I remember sitting in church, and I'll never forget this day. He was getting baptized, and my aunt's crying next to me. My uncle's there, and I looked at her and I realized, I was like, why am I not going to church? I said, this is the church that I went to for a couple of years, and I was happy and I liked it, and I was like, why did I run away? Why did I leave? So I remember looking at my wife, and I had goosebumps on me, and I looked at her and I was sobbing, I was crying, and I looked at her and I said, promise me something. And she said, what? I'll promise you anything. And I said, I want to go back to church. I want to go back home. And from that day on, I met you. And Alicia said, I got a great pastor that will help you and guide you. And I just felt that day when I opened up to her and said, I want to go and do this. It was really me. It was very me. And coming to your church philosophy really helped me, because when you first got me, I was bitter. I was angry. I didn't think this ain't the right church. This is something I'm not used to, And then just meeting the people and talking to people, and the familyness. That's what anybody there. I mean, you come to Velocity, it's a family. It's 100% a family, and that was the best part about it, is I miss that connection. And just every time I come in there, it's emotional. It's happiness. It's every emotion you can feel. But you're human. You're supposed to feel this, when you go overseas and stuff, you don't feel that stuff. You're a robot. I tell people all the time, you're a robot. This is what you're going to do, and this is how you're going to feel. You got it? Got it. But when I came home and saw your church and met you and met everybody out there, something cranked into me where I was just like, you need to come here every day to heal. I went to God and I told him I needed the help. And he touched me and said, I got you. I'll pick you up. And that's how I carried on. And I will always carry on. And it made me a believer. Because I don't know how many people are out there suffering from the stuff I suffer from. That are taking multiple medications, alcohol abuse, stuff like that, drugs abuse, when they just need help. They just need the Lord to come in and say, I got you, I can save you. I feel like these chains are just coming off of me and the weight's being relieved, and I don't feel like there's anger at my feet. There's no more anger. And I promise you anything, I would bet everything I've ever owned, that if you're suffering, truly suffering, and you need help and you need it, he'll save you if you want to be saved. I have trust in people again. I have trust with just regular people, and I feel like, all that hurt and pain I felt like he took it and just grabbed it and said, no more. It's done. It's over. Every single bit of it. And I mean, I went from, drinking like 18 beers a night to go to bed to maybe one on Saturday. And he just took all that pain that I had in my heart and my soul. he cleansed my soul. He cleansed it and gave me it all back and said, now you make your family. Now you do everything you want to do. I cleared your hurt. Now please stay where I'm at. And that's how I feel about it. I feel strongly that, I've asked for help. And he gave me it. He gave me the help and the strength to say, keep moving forward and not think those bad thoughts, And he goes, why think them? Or sometimes he says, it's just not your time, And that's the beautiful thing about it, because he has the ultimate plan at the end. He tells your story. And at the end of it all, one day you return home. Like I tell everybody, you return home to his kingdom.